All right. I love when that button comes up that says, you are live. Hello, hello, hello. Apologies for my 120 seconds of tardiness, but I needed to go grab me some tea. I needed to go grab an extra cup of tea. And that's my way of saying I needed to give myself some of this, some grace. Yes, I needed to give myself some grace. So hello, coach leaders. Hello, leader coaches. How are you doing? How are you doing? Just going to double check that I'm live. I think I am. I know my team. First of all, my team is so darn good. Of course, I'm live, but I want to be able to see it on my phone. I want to see what you all see. So it looks like we are live. All right. Hello again. Thank you again for being here. I'm telling you, I just turned off my heater. It's getting too hot. One of my colleagues and I, Anaya, we were just talking about how interesting the weather is. I mean, it's absolutely stunningly beautiful outside. I'm in the DMV area. That does not stand for Department of Motor Vehicles. At least not here, it doesn't. DC, Maryland, Virginia area. It is absolutely beautiful. And the weather tricked me. It's beautiful. It's so sunny. And I step outside and it is cold. so thus I had to get me some warm tea. And I'm rocking this, one of my favorite scarves. Isn't this beautiful? I'm not just saying it because it's mine. I didn't make it. Isn't it beautiful? I can't remember if I got it from India, one of my favorite places on the planet, or Dubai, another one of my favorite places on the planet. But, I decided today I'm just going to put on something that just makes me happy and brings me some joy. So I want to encourage you to do the same. What did you do this morning, or what have you done today that brings you some happiness, that brings you some joy? I'm curious about what you've done. So let me know in the chat. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started today. We are talking about yet another core competency. I started this series a few weeks ago, and I really appreciate the feedback that you all are giving me, that you really appreciate these little mini training sessions, if you will, giving you just some things to think about, to consider, to make your leadership stronger, to make your coaching skills stronger. So thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate it. And continue to give us feedback. Let us know, what specifically do you want me to bring? And I'm actually going to invite some people in the future. I'm going to invite some people to join me too. So hello. I am Sophia Casey. I am a master certified coach and MCC. I slow down on purpose when I say master certified coach, because it's the highest credential in our industry, and I'm just so proud of it. I'm so proud. So I will always shout it from the rooftops. Speaking of which, I was invited to speak to a group of women this month, and I'm so excited about that. So grateful for the invitation. And when they sent me and my assistant the social media assets, like what they're going to use to promote it or to send to the potential attendees, it was a beautiful, beautiful flyer. And I noticed that my MCC, see, just like right there, my MCC that I usually put after my name was not there. And, I started to think about it. Like, first I was like, well, it's okay. My saboteur pleaser her volume was turning up and up and up and up. It's okay. I'm sure they went through some trouble to create the flyer. Now you're going to ask them to change it. They're going to have to make some changes. They probably already made it a final copy. So I'm like, I literally spent, I kid you not, am I by myself? I know I'm not by myself. I literally spent about, 45 seconds, like talking myself out of asking for what I want. But thank God for coaching. Thank God for coaching. Thank God for therapy. Thank God for experience. Thank God for being this wonderful, ripe age of 58 years old, that I have come to a place in my life. I have come to a place in my confidence I have come to a place in my relationship to my worthiness that had me just cut out that talk. I'm like, Sophia, stop the madness. What do you want? Ask for what you want. So I did go back to the organizer and said, will you please put my master certified coach, my MCC credential, after my name? I worked really hard for that. So I love to have it after my name. And of course, she was like, sure. So can you relate to me? Just let me know in the comments. I know I'm not by myself, right? How many times do we not ask for what we want? Not ask for what we want. How often are we not clear, crystal clear about what it is that we want? That's what we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes. I love this quote by Brené Brown. I love so many quotes by Brené Brown. Any other people love Brené Brown? But this quote she has just stuck with me for so many years. And that quote says, kind is clear. No, I said it backwards. Clear is kind. Actually, both ways would work. Clear is kind. Clear is kind. And I know my team is going to put that in the chat, maybe even put that up here. That would be good so we can remind ourselves. Clear is kind. Clear is kind. What does Brené Brown mean by that? She's saying that being clear, when we are clear with people about what it is we want, don't want, what we want to create, don't want to create, what we want in our space, don't want in our space. When we are clear with people, we are being kind to them. And so I have it that in this coaching work that we do as coaches and also as leaders of organizations, we have lots of opportunities to practice our coaching skills, right? I have it that in this line of work, the more we're willing to be clear, the more we're willing to make sure that the other person on the other end is clear about the requests that we're making, what we want, what we don't want, I feel the more we're being kind to them. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. Yes, Clear is Kind by Brené Brown. I love Brené Brown quotes. So I want to talk to you about being clear. And specifically, I'm talking to you about core competency number 3. Core competency number 3 says that as coaches, and I always say as leaders too, because I feel like these skills are for leaders, coaches, coach leaders, leaders, coaches. It says that ICF core competency number 3 says that we will be clear. We will be clear as we establish and while we're maintaining agreements. It says that we are going to be clear. I want to talk about one specific part of that core competency. So, of course, I know I'm here with you just for a few minutes, so I'm not going to cover the entire core competency. Come on over to our Expert Coach Immersion programs, and I'll be sure to cover every core competency in more detail. But I just want to give you just a few nuggets, just a few things to think about. Clear is kind. So in core competency number 3, establishes and maintains agreements. What I'm looking for as a mentor coach, what I'm looking for as an assessor of your demonstration of the core competencies, what I'm listening for in our coach training program, and like I said, as a mentor coach, I'm listening for, did the coach get a clear and measurable coaching request? All right, I'm going to give y'all just a moment while I take another sip of my tea, just to drink that in, to ask yourselves, do you get clear and measurable coaching requests? I'll be right back with you. So, I've said it many times that I have trained and mentored and continue to train and mentor coaches, but I've trained and mentored over 1,000 coaches in my career. And I'm so grateful for this work that I get to do. I'm so grateful for our ICF Accredited Coach Training School, ICLI Rising. I'm grateful to have supported other coach training schools with becoming accredited. I'm grateful for that. And it also gives me a wonderful opportunity to support coaches. And as I do a lot of team coaching, I do facilitation in corporations, it gives me an opportunity also to invite leaders to be more and more clear, and for leaders to get clear about what it is that their employees, their team members, what they actually want, need to be most productive, most successful. So I want to pay attention to just that piece of this core competency. Again, I'm not going through the core competency in a lot of detail, but I do want to just highlight this specific part of core competency number 3. So core competency number 3 again says that we will ask for a clear, measurable coaching request. I am curious as to how you ask for your clients' coaching requests. Like, what do you say? Typically, what I say is, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Oh, there it is. I say, what is your coaching request for today? I just lost it because I have 5 different ideas in my head. What is your coaching request for today? Now, of course, when I first start working with an executive, I predominantly coach C-suite executives. When I first start working with an executive or senior manager on the road to becoming a senior executive, when I say, what is your coaching request for today in the beginning of our work together, you can imagine what I get. I get like, wait, what? Coaching request? So I have it though. Although I am a coach in that relationship, I'm also doing some training too. I'm doing a bit of training in that relationship too. I'm training that client. I'm supporting that client with, what does that even mean? I'm training them on what it is that we need in order to be able to support them in this coaching session. So I asked for, what is your request for coaching? One of my colleagues asked it like this. She says, what's top of mind for you? I'm like, ooh, that's cute. That's cute. What's top of mind for you? So you can ask it however you want. The most important thing is that you are inviting the client to tell you what it is they want, what it is that they want to, what is it that they want to accomplish before the session ends? What is it that they would consider, what has to happen in the conversation for them to feel that it met their needs, that it was a successful coaching session for them? What needs to take place? And as a mentor coach, what I hear a lot is coaches sometimes struggle around this, right? And I have it that we as humans sometimes struggle around asking for clarity, asking for clear requests, but also we struggle around giving clear requests, So there you are in the coaching session, coach, and you ask your client, what's your coaching request for today? Or if you want to ask it in that cute way, like my colleague does, what's top of mind for you today? I just really like that. What are you expecting to get back? What are you expecting to get back? Okay. What I want you to get back as your mentor coach is I want you to stay right there in the conversation with the client until they are clear about what they want to accomplish, what they want to work on, what they want the outcome of that coaching session to be. And I also want you to be clear about what is it that they want to accomplish in that coaching session. I'm going to underscore this. I'm going to ask my team to put this in the chat. Just the words, in this coaching session. And then I'm going to check in with you and say hi. I'm sorry I haven't said hi. I told you once I get started and I start talking about this, I love this work so much. I lose track of time. I lose track of time. I do. So thank you so much again for being here for another core for coaches. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to know, first of all, how do you ask for a clear coaching request? What is it that you say? So there you are in the coaching session. You ask the client, what's top of mind for you? Or what's your request for coaching? What's your coaching request today? What do you want to accomplish in this session? What do you want to be so by the time we wrap up in this session? So thank you to my team. Thanks, Malik and Anaya. I know you put that in the chat. In this session, because those of you who are pursuing your ICF, your International Coaching Federation, ICF credentials, the ICF assessors are expecting you to get clear and measurable coaching requests. So sometimes what I hear Sorry, sometimes what I hear as a mentor coach, as an assessor of coaching skills, sometimes I hear, even in our coach training program, I'll hear the coach ask, what is it that you want to work on today, client? Hey, Susan, what's top of mind for you? Derek, what would you like to accomplish in this session before we wrap up? So oftentimes I hear the coach ask, that's great. Thumbs up. That is great. And the part that I see sometimes that's a gap is around what the coach gets back. So let's say you, coach, you ask your client, Greg, I'm totally making up these names. You ask Greg, what's top of mind for you? What do you want to accomplish in this session? And Greg says, yeah. I've been thinking about this quite a bit, coach. Yeah. And I want to write a book. Is that a clear, measurable coaching request for this session? I keep underscoring for this session because we are after a clear and measurable coaching request, what they want to work on in this session, this coaching session. So if your client, Greg, says to you, oh, I know what I want to work on. I want to write a book. Is that a clear, measurable coaching request for this session? I want to give you a moment just to weigh in. I want to hear what you say. So put a yes, it's clear, or no, it's not clear, or put in an I don't know. Okay. I want you to answer that. Is that a clear, measurable coaching request? Okay. And my team is going to put it in the comments as well. So Greg, your pretend client, Greg says, I want to write a book. Does that meet core competency number 3? That's so good. That is so good. So I would say, and let me check in before I give you my answer, my thoughts about it. Let me just check in. Hi, coaches. Hello, leaders. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Awesome. I see that you're here, but I can't just put a hello in the comments and then I'll be able to see your name. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So is that a clear, measurable coaching request for this session? So my answer to that would be no. The client is maybe on their way to creating a clear, measurable coaching request for this session. But I would say no. And this is why I would say no. I'm saying no and yes. What? Okay, I'm saying no and yes. I'll say yes, it is a clear, measurable coaching request if your client, Greg, is going to write the book right here, right now in this coaching session. I'm gonna just let that sink in for a minute because I want to know your reaction to that. So I say that, yes, that's a clear, measurable coaching request if your client, Greg, intends to write the book right now in this session. That's why I keep highlighting in this session, because what I'm focused on as your mentor coach, I'm focused on it as an assessor of coaching, is did the coach get a clear request? Did the coach get a clear request about what the client wants to accomplish before you finish up the coaching session? That's what I'm listening for. So Greg's coaching request would be clear and measurable so long as he intends to write the book right then, there, now, in the 45 minutes that you all are together, or however long your coaching session is. And I imagine that Greg does not intend to write his entire book right there in the 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I know some of you coaches do an hour and a half, 2-hour coaching sessions. I'm sure Greg does not mean, I imagine Greg does not mean to write the whole book right then and there. So as Greg's coach, I'm going to get curious about that. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to stay in the conversation. So what I hear you saying, Greg, is in this coaching session today, you want to write a book. Now, what's predictable to happen? Yes. What's predictable is that Greg would say, well, no, not right now in this coaching session. I'm just saying that's one of my goals. Oh, okay. So that's one of Greg's overarching. I always do this. I love to do visuals. That's one of Greg's overarching goals, is to write a book. He may have another overarching goal to deepen his the time that he spends with his son. He may have another overarching goal, like I have, to live abroad. Okay, so that's the overarching goal, the overarching goal. Now, how can we support Greg with bringing that goal? I almost think about it like a funnel. Like right now, the goal is like very broad, write a book. Well, he doesn't intend to write a book today, right now, in this session. So how do we support Greg in bringing it down and making it more narrow, if you will, but more focused on what he wants to accomplish in this session? What do we do? How do we do that? How do we support the client? All right, I'm going to checking in. How do we support the client with narrowing it down? Yes, we stay right there. Stay right there in the conversation. Yes, we ask questions. We ask questions, right? To check in with the client. Is that really what you want to accomplish? So typically, I imagine anyways, that if I asked Greg as his coach, like, oh, I want to make sure I'm clear, I'm tracking with you. In this coaching session, you want to write a book. No, Coach Sophia, I don't want to write the book right now. Okay, what would you like to accomplish? What would you like to get done in this coaching session? Well, in this coaching session, I just want to come up with the possible chapters, the chapter names of my book, because I've been thinking about that quite a bit, but I haven't actually nailed it down. Okay, so by the time we wrap up, you will have identified the chapter names of your book, or some chapter names for your book. Am I tracking with you? Am I on track with you? So what am I doing? I'm staying right there in the conversation with my client, Greg. Right there. I'm asking questions. I am calling Greg forth to be even more clear about what Greg wants to accomplish in this session. Do you all hear the difference? Do you hear the difference? I'm going to put that up in the comments too. Do you hear the difference? Or what do you hear as the difference? What do you hear as the difference? Thank you, Malik, for putting that right there. What do you hear as the difference between the first way that Greg said his coaching request versus the second way? What do you hear as the difference? Okay, thank you. Thank you. You all are so good at the comments in the chat. I appreciate that. Okay, so yes, the difference is the first coaching request was an overarching goal. It was very broad, right? The second way, or the second coaching request that Greg gave, was more, it was clearer. It was more focused, right? So what do you hear is the difference between Greg's two requests? Broad, I want to write a book. Then as the coach asked more questions to get more clarity to support Greg in becoming more and more clear about what he wanted to accomplish in the session, then it got narrowed down to like, actually, I just want to come up with my chapter titles. Like I want to at least brainstorm and come up with some ideas for my chapter titles. Okay. So then this is the reason that getting a clear, measurable coaching request is so important. Okay. I'm going to give you some ideas. So give me just a moment. This is why it's super, super important. Why clear agreements matter. Number one, because when you don't have direction, when you're not clear, when the client is not clear about the direction, the road that they're taking in this coaching session, that could impede transformation. Let me say it a different way. If you have a fuzzy wuzzy coaching request, right? It's muddy, it's not really clear. If the client has a fuzzy wuzzy, unclear coaching request, a lot of times what could happen is that could be a block to actually experiencing more self-awareness, to them actually getting experiencing more discovering something about themselves, right? Because it's not clear. So they may be over here, over here, over here. I want to create a purple poodle grooming salon. No, that's not really what I want to do, right? I want to write my book. No, I don't really want to write my book right now. Okay, so sometimes without getting that clear, measurable coaching request, sometimes that could get in the way of that client actually experiencing transformation. There's something that's so special that happens in coaching. That's why I'm so addicted to this work. That when the client is super clear about what they want, and then they do the work with you in the coaching session, and then at the end, they actually have what it is that they said they wanted. I'm telling you, that can be such a delicious transformational experience. So that's number one. No direction equals no transformation. Now, can transformation still happen without direction? Sure. But I'm speaking about this broadly. So no direction. We're going to put that up on my screen right here. No direction equals no transformation. No direction equals no transformation. If you are in a coaching conversation with your client and there is not a clear, measurable coaching request, this is what I say. This is not the ICF. This is Sophia. This is Coach Sophia. I say, without a clear, measurable coaching request, you are merely having a great conversation with that client. They're having a great chat. There's nothing wrong with you having a great chat if that's what they're paying you for. But they're not, right? If they're not, then you want to do all that you can to be connected, to stay in conversation with that client until they are clear about what it is they want, okay? Second reason that's so important to have clear agreements. ICF uses the word agreement to mean contracting, certainly, but also a clear coaching request, a clear blueprint, a clear direction, okay? So the second reason is misalignment creates frustration. Oh, okay, thank you for putting that in the chat. Misalignment creates frustration. You think it's about clarity, but what they actually wanted was action. So when a coaching request is not clear, you may be thinking the client wants one thing, like, oh, okay, I got what they want. I'm clear about what they want. You haven't asked any questions to make sure that you're clear. What you could get as a result is a mismatch where the client is saying, I want one thing, but you're off to the races supporting them around something else. We don't want a mismatch, okay? Thirdly is less confidence for you and your client. When things are not clear, when things are muddy, what could happen is that your client could get frustrated because it's like, I didn't get what I came here to get. Now, it's not our responsibility. It's their responsibility to get what they came there to get. But it could create some friction. It could create a breakdown, if you will, in a relationship. So I want to encourage you to practice over the next week until we're back together again next week. I want you to practice being clear about your request. When you go and make a request, when you go and ask for something, be clear. I want you to also practice receiving clear requests. And if they're not clear, I want you to practice asking questions. I can't wait to see you next week. Thank you for being here with me. I love coming to you. I love providing training and tips and tools and templates and all the T's every single Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Ciao.